The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components' location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Portland, Oregon, on your new apparatus, job number 29889. Please utilize this job number when referencing your vehicle with Hughes Fire Equipment. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting on the front bumper, moving from the passenger side to the driver's side, you have an electronic siren. Located next, you have two air horns on the right and left, in addition with a tow hook mounted just shortly of the center, and in the very center, a mechanical siren. Moving up onto the body, there is a right and left LED turn indicator. On the outer edge, an additional turn indicator, and in the center cluster here, you'll find your low and high beam headlights. Just above that in the cluster, you'll find red and blue emergency lights. Moving up from that location, you'll find a right and left grip. And in the very center, you'll find 3 windshield wipers across your seamless one piece of glass windshield. Here are some close-ups of your turn signals, headlights, and emergency lights. Moving down in the base, you'll find here a emergency and a side scene light. Let's go ahead and look underneath the cab. This is your TAC4 suspension. Also, you have tow hooks located underneath. Let's go ahead and take a generalized view of the driver's side of your vehicle. These are going to be your mirrors. Upper section is flat, bottom section is concave. Looking just up above the very top of your apparatus on the side, you'll find a red and blue emergency warning lights on both sides. This is going to be your battery charging system. There is a light in addition with a gauge. And at the very top, you'll find a side scene light, and just behind that, a raisable side scene or rear facing scene. There are also emergency warning lights on the rear section of your cab. Located in the door section, you'll find a light in addition with your cab tilt location. And also just to the very right-hand side of this, or further to the rear area, you'll find your air inlet outlet and an air shutoff. Underneath the apparatus at all points of entry, in addition with the rear, you'll find perimeter lighting. Let's take a look at the top of the apparatus. Looking at the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 running lights, 2 forward-facing fixed floodlights, and up onto the top of the cab, you'll find in the center your Opticom. You'll find an LED light bar. At the very top, you'll find your directional go light, which is a spotlight. And on the right and left, you'll have side and near side floodlights on both the right and left side. At the very top, you'll see there's diamond plate in addition with your apparatus number. Generalized view here of the side of the apparatus. Located in the very center, you'll find your Opticom. This is going to be an image at the very top. In your cased housing in black here is the go light. Let's take a look at the general side. This is your pump panel on the driver's side. Let's talk about some of the components. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner. There is a flat or backboard area here for your EMS boards. There are also 3 locations across this. We'll talk about that behind the netting. Up in the section here, we're going to find your pump intake. These are your master gauges, in addition with your pump discharge. And just beneath that, you're going to find vacuum and pressure gauges. These are test ports located at the very bottom, and there's currently plugs in those locations. Let's go ahead and take a look at the left-hand side here. This is that backboard in the open position. It goes through all the way to the other side. Let's talk about the next thing down. These are going to be your cross lays. You can see here color-coded 2 cross lays in addition with a 2.5-inch cross lay. The first 2 are both 1 3/4. Once again, back on the color coding, those color codings reference the location and also the discharge and also the valve.
Let's take a look back up here, a generalized view of the pump intake and pump discharge. There's also a light in the very center that will activate when the pump is properly in gear. On the left-hand side, this black placard here, it says Pierce on it. This is your maintenance schedule. This has to do with the PSIs, GPM at 150, 200, and 250. Let's look at the very top left-hand corner. This is going to be an entanglement hazard for the hose. Let's move down to the next turn valve here. This is going to be the engine cooler. Next over is your recirculating line. Information here in the next set of placards regarding your Husky foam system. This is an indication that your pump has properly been engaged also, and just beneath this is the switch for your pump panel. These are for the lights on your pump panel. On the next one down, you're going to find this is your throttle control and pressure control. Over in the red section, this is for your Husky foam system. And just to the right of that, this will be your tank vision here regarding the amount of Class A foam that you have in your tank. Just to the right of that, this will be your primer for your fire pump. We'll go ahead and take a look at the very bottom. Here's some information on checking your owner's manual prior to operation. Down at the very bottom, this is going to be your foam intake. As you can also see, the individual valves, we'll talk about those also, but directions here are indicating this is your 2.5-inch auxiliary intake and the large diameter intake in the blue tape. Just beneath that, you'll find a port for your foam inlet and outlet. It's the red handle. And just above that, this is a placard regarding your Watrous information for the type of pump and the transmission connection. At the very top, this is your pump drain. Moving over to the right-hand side, once again, pump drain, but then slightly over that, you'll find in this blue area, this is going to be your water tank, and this is the indication as to full, 3/4, half, quarter, and red being empty or nearly empty. We'll talk about these access doors and what's behind those next. Let's take a look. The first access door is going to give you your large diameter intake. This is the relief valve. There is a screw inside there to adjust that. And then just beneath this one, this is where you find your foam information for internal foam inlet or drain. Close-up views of all of the individual areas that we just talked about. We're now going to go ahead and start with the perimeter around the exterior of the body. We'll talk about the compartments that are associated as we move from the driver's side to the rear to the passenger side. Let's go ahead and start with the first compartment on your left-hand side, commonly known as the engineer's compartment or operator compartment. This is a compartment that has adjustable shelves within inside. You can also see the yellow handle, which is for your tilt cab, which is attached in the very front. These compartments are illuminated with inside, and they also have, as you can see, airflow into those compartments. Let's take a look at the next set of compartments near the rear section. And when we open this compartment door, you'll find bottle storage. There are 3 locations for bottle storage, in addition with safety tabs here or webbing to assist in holding those bottles from movement so that they don't fall out once you open the door. Let's go ahead and look in this smaller compartment. You'll find an additional bottle storage location here. This compartment next to it is going to be your diesel exhaust fluid and also your diesel low emissions. As you can see, this is a pull down style. Once the flap is open, you can fill the silver cap, which is your diesel. And we go to the next image here. This is going to be your DEF, which is a 4.5 US gallon tank, and it is located here, and it is blue in color. Let's go ahead and take a look at the center compartment. Once again, we're on the driver's side. When we open this compartment, you'll find this is a lift style compartment, and inside there is a pegged tool board. This tool board is accessible for tools on inside and outside and also on the rear wall. It is currently in its open configuration. To return it back to storage or closed position, there is a pin that must be lifted that will gain access on the hinge side. Once the pin is lifted, it'll restore back to its normal position. There is also an adjustable shelving here that can be accessed for moving that pegboard. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next compartment back in the long compartment. This is a 2-compartment door. Open the first door, lower latch is on your left with a black handle. Lift that and you'll gain access to this compartment. Once again, There is airflow in this compartment, adjustable shelving, and lights. We're now looking at the rear of the apparatus. You can see a rear-facing flood. There is also emergency warning lights and also side scene lights. We're going to go ahead and now take a look at the rear of the apparatus, and we'll talk about some of the components on the rear of your apparatus next. Starting in the upper left-hand corner, you can see this light is for rear-facing flood. There's one on the opposite side also of the rear of the apparatus. We'll now talk about some of the components here, but first let's take a look at your brake cluster, brake, turn, reverse, and an emergency blue light. There is also a push for warning buzzer here, 1 for stop, 2 for go, and 3 for backup. There is also the location for your shore power. It is the cord that is sticking out right now. That is your shore power inlet. As we look at this, your shore outlet is a 15 amp shore outlet. Moving just down from this location, you'll find your shore power inlet. This is a 20 amp plug inlet, and you'll also find that you have a light indicating shoreline power. Just beneath that, you'll find 2 switches. One is for your deck lights, and the other's for the rear scene lights. Moving down to the lower section, you'll find your brake, turn, reverse, and an emergency blue light, in addition with a work light. At the very top, you're going to find 3 areas here for hose connections. On the left, you'll find an 1 3/4 inch. You'll find a 2.5 inch. These are both discharges. Moving to the opposite side, or I should say in the center, you'll find your reverse camera. Then as we move to the opposite side, you'll find an intake here. And then on the opposite side of the 2 other discharges, you'll find this discharge, which is an 1.5 inch. Generalized view of the rear of the apparatus. As you can see at the very bottom of your apparatus, there are 3 tail light running lights here in the location in the back. Just underneath, you'll find 2 perimeter lights on the right and left side. In the very top area, you'll find your traffic advisor. You also have hose bed, which is movable hose bed slats. Here's an image of that 1 3/4 inch on the left, large diameter 2.5 on the right. This is an image of the backup camera as a close-up. And as we move further to the right, this is that rear inlet, 2.5 inch with a valve, in addition with the officer rear 1 3/4 inch. You have fold down steps in this area. Once these steps are in the upward position, you can access the 2 doors down in the lower section. Once you've accessed this area, this also has airflow with inside, and it also is a compartment that has illumination inside. Generalized view of the side and rear section of your apparatus. Let's talk about some of the components as we move around the corner here. As you can see, the upper section, you have a powered ladder rack holding a 14-foot roof and a 24-foot roofer. Here's a close-up of that traffic advisor in the very center, and you can see those adjustable hose bed from right to left for those slats. Generalized view of the top of your apparatus. You can see the cab is currently in the open position. I have a few close-ups of these, and we'll talk about some of those. You have your booster reel and also your large diameter master stream device at the very top. You can see also down at the very bottom, you have a coupling for foam, and also is the location for your hydraulic fluid fill. There are also a few labels to pay attention to. There are a few no-step locations on the top of your apparatus. These are just protective covers. Same as this area here for your booster or your red line. As we move to the rear, you'll see the large tank here in the center. That is your fill for your water. The one indicated A is for your foam A. On the side, you're going to find your powered equipment rack. On off indicates the green light will illuminate. Green light will illuminate, and you have a lift up and down. Let's start here on the left-hand side. Let's look in this large compartment. Once again, it's a 2-door compartment. Open the first door, gain the latch in the lower section to open the lower door. At the top of this compartment, you'll find, as it is on the other side, emergency lights and also a side-facing floodlight. We're now seeing the side latch here. This is for your powered ladder rack. This is the latch that holds your ladder in the upright position or locked position. This is currently in its locked position. Let's go ahead and take a look at the large compartment here on the rear section, passenger side, adjustable shelf, airflow, and illumination inside. Similar configuration on this side of the apparatus, except in the very rear compartment, you have an additional bottle storage location. And just forward of this location, the small access door will gain access to the powered equipment rack hydraulic reservoir. This is specifically the hydraulic rack reservoir for filling and visualizing the site of that fluid. Just in front of that, you'll find additional bottle storage. There are 3 here. And as we move down to the lower section, this is where your exhaust is located. Do take note of the warning or hazard label here regarding the parking of this next to anything that's flammable. Exhaust is extremely hot. Let's take a look inside of this center compartment. Similar to the other side, although the inside is slightly different, with a large adjustable shelf in this area. There's also illumination in this and also airflow. Moving to the forward section of this compartment, you're going to find some adjustable shelves located here. This is a compartment just before midship, and we'll talk a little bit about the components in the next set of images. Something that might be a little hard to see here, but just on the hinge side of this door, you'll find the rewind for your reel or booster line. Let's go ahead and take a look midsection here. This is the exact same outfit as the opposite side with the backboard storage and 3 compartments here for your hose. Let's take a look at some of the components here. We'll talk about what's behind this door, and also this is the equipment powered rack location. What's behind this door is an access door for all the electrical components within inside this area. There is also some warning labels regarding riding on the apparatus and looking into the center of any type of a discharge point. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other components on this side. You're going to find some discharge points here and also an additional access door. You can see that you have crosslays on this side, the same as you do as the opposite side. Just as a reminder, the information on this side are all even numbered and the opposite side are odd numbered. This is going to be inside that access door. This gains access to what I refer to as a master hose reel switch. That's in the red, and then just to the right there are a few electronic modules. Let's go ahead and look down toward the bottom of the apparatus here. You'll find in this compartment or in this space, you'll find your discharges at the very bottom for drains. In the center, you'll find your large diameter intake and large diameter discharge. This is a removable hose storage location here. I think I have an image of that shows this in the up or lifted out position. To go ahead and restore that, it just simply sits down into that spot. Let's go ahead and now take a look at some of the components within the cab. First, let's start with the driver's side. And on the door itself, you'll find a variety of different warning and hazard labels. Please take note of those warning and hazard labels. These are all accessed from every point of entry for persons to gain access into the cab regarding seat belts and more information. This is going to be your Pierce information placard. On the Pierce information placard, it houses a variety of things from the date of manufacture, the job number, the VIN number, and also it has information on gross vehicle weight ratings and also fluid capacities, types, and locations. Located just on the floor, there is a mechanical siren foot pedal. This would be just left of the steering column, right at the point of entry. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the components just up from this location. These are going to be components that are for the battery switch, your command zone port, and also your engine transmission and ABS diagnostic port. This is also your ABS diagnostic, DPF regen, your engine diagnostic, and engine regen switch. Up on the top here, you're going to find your road to pump actuation, in addition with 2 green indicators for pump has been engaged and OK to pump. Please see the owner's manual regarding the use of this device. Also down on the right-hand side about knee height for the operator, you'll find an additional air horn location, some future switches, your traction control disable, and ECAS fault. Moving just to the right of that, you'll find your main mirror and your convex mirror on this somewhat out of focus image. This is going to be to control the right and left mirrors for your vehicle. Let's go ahead and move up further onto the actual column. We'll talk a little bit about some of the components here. On this column, you'll find that you have your hazard warning lights, your right and left turn indicator, and flash. As we look at the dash, we're going to talk about some of the components on the left-hand side of the dash next, but this is your transmission, oil, DEF, water on the left. You have your tachometer and miles per hour, and then volts, fuel, front and rear air, in addition with informational displays. Let's go ahead and take a look on the left-hand side of the operator. You'll find your ignition switch and also your start switch. The very top is an indicator, wait to start. Once the system is turned on, it goes through its checks. It will then give you the okay for wait to start the apparatus. Just inside from that, you're going to find this EM switch, which is your emergency master for all your emergency lights, your park and headlights, and to the right of that, your panel increase, decrease for your panel dimness and brightness. On the opposite side, you're going to find an indicator light for your OK high idle switch, and then the actual switch for engaging the high idle. From this point, let's go ahead and move to the center console. Located in the very top of your center console, you'll find a Pierce command zone. There's information here regarding all of your apparatus on fluids, the apparatus, doors, a tremendous amount of information on this screen. Let's go ahead and talk about the next set of switches down. You'll find your raise and lower your suspension. You're also going to find your kneel disabled. You'll find your engine on-off for your parking brake, the settings for low, medium, and high and ride height warning, and also your mirror heat. Just down from that, you're going to find your Allison transmission pad, and it says pump in drive. And also on the left, the yellow, this is going to be your system service brakes, pull to apply, push to release. Moving also just to the right of that location, in the very center, you'll find your climate control. In the gray area, your heat and defrost area. Red is your heat, and blue is the AC or air conditioning. Let's go ahead and move just a little to the right of this location, and this is where you're going to find your go light. It's currently not in its current position, but this is the go light for the top of your apparatus. There's an indicator light that it's on, and also a control location here, a momentary switch for controlling it. Let's go ahead and take a look in the upper left-hand corner of your apparatus. There is a yellow placard. On that yellow placard indicates the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating in addition to your job. We'll come back to that and talk about some of those informations here in the next set of images. But first, let's take a look at the center of your cab. You can see there are two pull cords. In addition, those are for your air horns. In addition, with red, white, push on, push off, and also information placards regarding warning for lung inhalation, and also your air conditioner. There are two fans located here on both the right and left, mounted in the very center. Let's go ahead and start on the left-hand side, just over the operator's head. And as we start in the area over the operator's head, that'll bring us to that yellow placard. This is going to be the height of your apparatus, 9 feet 8 inches, the length 30 feet 5 inches, gross vehicle weight rating at 43.5. There's also your job number located at the very bottom. Moving to the right, you'll find some switches here. This is your emergency master. You also have a load master, perimeter lights, a siren brake. That's for your grinder, and also fog lights and emergency light dimmer. Just to the right of that location, you'll find a future spot or a place that you can also store items, components in this area. But this is mainly for in case you choose to add additional options in this area. To the right of that location, this is going to be the emergency traffic advisor. This is the direction indicator. It also has high, off, and low. And it also has the functions of left, right, split, or flash. Here's a close-up of your fans, just in case. But in the center of this, I wanted to point out this red puck style light. There is some information on it. This light is indicating that you have a compartment open or ajar, or even one of your roll-ups. Do not move the apparatus if that light is illuminated. To the right of that, you'll find your driver alley lights, driver scene lights, front scene, rear scene, officer scene lights, and officer alley lights. In the very center, or just over the center area, you'll find your fire comm system and also some additional pull cords. This is for the officer side, and then you'll find those candy cane warnings that indicate that there are wires behind those locations. We'll cover the officer side or passenger side here in the next set of images, but first let's take a look at the rear section of your apparatus from within inside the cab. Looking to the rear, you'll find you have a right and left fold-down seat. Just in front of that, you also have 2 additional seats and some compartments on the right and left. You'll also see on the right compartment that candy cane style. That's indicating that there are wires behind that or in that compartment. Looking here from the outside looking in, you can see your 2 rear-facing SCBA seats here with fold-down seats. And as we look further inside the cab, just a little bit of a turn here of the angle, we're going to see you have 2 fold-down seats that are forward-facing, and then that center compartment just in the center between the right and left seats. Just in front of that compartment, you'll find an additional access point. This is the compartment between the rear-facing seats. This is an access point for checking daily your fluids on the engine. This is also a illuminated compartment. It houses your oil and transmission, and there is a light just inside that compartment. This next image is best visualized from the driver's side outside window just behind the rear seat. This is the location of your battery charger. It's a gauge and also an indicator light that you're plugged into shore power. Difficult to see from here, but on the outside it's a much easier understanding of what that is. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 2 compartments here. Take a look at the upper right-hand corner of this compartment. You'll find these throughout the apparatus, the candy cane style warning label. This is merely indicating that there are wires behind this or in this compartment and to take note. Here is the information on the type or options and wires that are here and the individual verification. So do not remove this. This is basically indicating that there are spare wiring behind these panels. Inside this compartment, you'll find why those wires are stickers are on there is because you can see the loose wires down in the very bottom that have yet to be determined. Inside this compartment, there is illumination and there is also an adjustable shelf. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other compartment. You can see this is the location where you might have some sort of a power supply for a device, and that's why, once again, those labels are on that, and there are the wires located there. Let's go ahead and move forward of this location. In the front seat area or in between the 2, you'll find there is shore outlet. This is a 2 plug-in switch. There is one on the passenger and one on the driver's side. They're directly behind the seats. These plugs will only work when connected to shore power, when your apparatus is physically plugged into the wall of your station. This is going to be your FireCom system for your FireCom headsets. And as we move further back to the sides of each one of the compartment doors for accessing any person door, once again, you'll find your warning labels regarding seatbelts. Seatbelts in Pierce apparatus are color-coded. They are red in color for easy identification, and that is what your apparatus is equipped with. A couple things I didn't mention on the outside of your apparatus that I'll talk about now. You have on the right and left-hand side, you have a telescoping floodlight. There is also a switch just beneath this floodlight also. You also have mid-cab turn indicators for left and right turn. And as we look just above this area here at the very top, there is an additional grab handle for the ease of gaining access to the top or loading and deploying of hose. Let's go ahead and move to the very front of your apparatus. This will be the passenger side front door. This vehicle is equipped with an SRS, which is your supplemental restraint system, an airbag. There is that located in the very front. Do not block this area or mount anything in this area. There's also a warning label indicating that. Once again, seatbelt door information. You also have a right turn camera. This is a rear facing on the front door of your apparatus next to your logo. This is the bullet camera for that device. As we look inside the cab of the passenger seat, you'll find just beneath the SRS, you'll find your fill for your windshield wiper fluid. Just beneath that, you'll also find your mechanical siren foot pedal. That's mounted just on the base or floor of the passenger side. Let's go ahead and look at overall appearance over the head of the passenger in this area. You'll find a variety of components here, and we'll break down some of those components in the next set of images. Let's go ahead and start with the very far right-hand corner, and this is going to be your Whelen siren. This is also your air horn and also your PA system. Let's move just to the left of this location. You'll find a set of switches. There is an alarm siren switch, also a siren brake, and then you have what appears to be 4 additional locations for future switches if need be. Moving to the left of that, once again, candy cane stripes here, warning labels regarding their spare wiring behind here that may be utilized in the future for your radio and for the radio antenna. Looking just to the left of that, you're going to find that pull cord and also your remote for your Firecom headset system. And in the center, that red puck regarding the emergency do not move the apparatus, compartment doors are ajar. This is that warning red light here, and on that actual light, it actually says do not move the apparatus unless you verified what's behind or what's happening with that alarm. As we look on to the underside, you'll find your Firecom system. This is the wireless system for your headsets for communications. Let's go ahead and look down here at the dash level. On the dash left-hand side, you'll find 2 12-volt access points. These are both 12-volt off the battery of the vehicle, and they are USB style. Congratulations, Portland. Job number 29889. Once again, if you have any questions regarding the content of this video or any of the questions regarding some of the components, please contact your Hughes Fire associate, and have a good day. Congratulations with your new apparatus. Thank you.